inside scoop or what the hot issues are we're facing right now this week in the United States Congress dealing with church and state issues. And I can tell you ahead of time they're going to be, should we fund faith-based Head Start programs for the students who were displaced as a result of Hurricane Katrina? Should we give them vouchers that they can use at private religious schools? Should the Pledge of Allegiance be allowed to stand with the words "under God" in it? And should we approve Justice Roberts this week in the United States Senate to be the new Chief Justice?
In our actual contracts with churches that may get county monies, even if it's pass-through monies from the state or federal government, is that there's a specific clause in those contracts that prohibits proselytizing those who would enter those clinics or those counseling services or the HIV services that are offered there in terms of presenting a religious viewpoint. And we put those right in our contracts, that's a great conversation to have, but just not there.
Genuine religion is so integral a part of politics, economics, and culture that to try to extract it from them is to institutionalize it like trying to extract a hole from a donut and make it into a subject for geometry.
You don't want to abuse or disrespect anybody's belief system. Having said that, a Christian is under obligation to follow what Jesus said. Christianity per se is not a religion, it's a relationship. And it's a relationship with Jesus. And so to pray just generally in a non-sectarian way is very difficult, if not impossible for most of us.
I believe we heard the two views that we in Islam also share, that is the role of religion being a regulator and dominator of the state, as well as the fact that when religion goes to the extreme of imposing on others a particular faith, then all of the trouble begins.
How can under God in the schools be unconstitutional? We start every day with a prayer in Congress. And the Supreme Court said that's okay, so it doesn't make sense. Well, for Anthony Kennedy it does, because an adult may have a resilience to preaching that a child does not. That children may be more susceptible to messages and to psychological coercion.
I did want you to notice one thing. Although the U.S. Constitution does not mention God, every state constitution refers to a God. This is an amazing historical anomaly as far as I am concerned. The Virginia Constitution actually requires, as a constitutional matter, that people act with Christian forbearance, love, and charity towards each other.
It really is a pleasure to be here, particularly to talk about religious freedom, because it's a human right that I fervently believe in and the ACLU has consistently fought to defend. And because the ACLU is so often perceived and I think misperceived as being against religion, I think it's important to talk about why we believe as we do. Because I think that our views opposing government entanglement with religion is in fact the traditional American view, and that for more than 200 years that view has been good for both religion and government.
Ultra-conservative politicians will rant and rave, raise clenched fists, and shout in the air with impassioned pleas that Almighty God and the zeal for patriotism are inseparable. And some of their supporters go so far to say that America is really a Christian nation. You might even hear some of these tonight say that. On the flip side, there are more liberal watchdogs who carry picket signs and walk up and down in front of City Hall, and they want to get rid of anything resembling religion, get rid of all 10 Commandments, get rid of displays of manger scenes at Christmas time. And they say they even want those of you in high school to get rid of the word God in the Pledge of Allegiance. Which extreme is right? Neither one.
Why does it appear to be a God gap between our nation's two political parties? What lies beneath the headlines of recent research that appears to show that the more religious a person is, the more likely they are to vote Republican? Also, what is the enduring tie that causes Republicans to get this right more often than Democrats?
As a sitting trial judge, I think the best way to describe that is that's where the U.S. religious law rubber meets the road. When you speak of government involvement in religion, probably the most fertile ground for that is in the trial courts.
And when we talk about blurring the line today, this is one very important area in which the line gets blurred between church and state, because these areas, these religious exemptions to these laws, result in the deaths of children.
I'm going to be talking about the Council at Nicaea, which was held under the authority of the Emperor Constantine in the summer of AD 325. I want to look at the effect of that council within a religious tradition. Instead of looking at the effect of public policy, the view, the interaction between church and state, the approach I want to take is how does imperial or governmental involvement in a religion affect the religion internally?
As men and women of faith, as members of the human family, and as citizens, we are still confronted with that central question. Is our purpose as human beings and creatures of God to serve the work of the soul, or simply to obey the secular government authority? And I think there's a healthy tension in a healthy society between those two, and we see it really reflected in the headlines of just the past 2 weeks.
But the actual constitutional relationship between government and religion has been described by the United States Supreme Court many times as being one of benevolent neutrality. In general, government may neither favor religion nor disfavor it. However, recognizing the central importance of religious and conscientious beliefs in our lives and the importance of those beliefs under the First Amendment, the Supreme Court has said that government may choose to give special protection to freedom of religion and freedom of conscience.
The issues are tough. When I went to Congress, I said I wanted to do what was right. I never changed. My only problem was trying to figure out what was right. The issues are so difficult, they're so complex that we deal with that it's just very difficult to do. But I really do believe in our system. We've got good people in both parties up there who are struggling, trying to do in an incredibly complex world to make some sense out of it. I have an incredible faith in our system. I have incredible faith in you.